More strategic buying of comic books? All right. Well, let's give it a try. I've got a order here that we're going to unbox, and I used my comic book acquisition analysis spreadsheet 2.0, and that thing told me exactly which books to buy, so we're going to open this up and see what's inside. All right, so I have been using some analysis of data that I've been gathering from pricing sources like Cover Price Go Collect, GPA, and then looking at other online stores, Mile High Comics, Atomic Avenue, Midtown, and kind of all the big ones and all of our favorites where we get comic books online. And looking at comparing prices and values and seeing which near mint books really have the potential to have a nice solid value and return for the money that you're spending. And then also just if they come back as a 9.4 in near mint, is it is it a high risk or is it a low risk? And so what I've been doing is trying to go through and add formulas and algorithms into determining whether or not a comic book should be purchased. And I had to break my own rule already. I'm glad it's not a New Year's resolution. I've already broken it about no more buying of comic books until 2022. I've already broken that because I wanted to start to test this theory. I'd purchased a couple of orders from Mile High Comics and already saw really good potential on the return of those. That was the one, like I had Spectacular Spider-Man #9, I believe, in one of those orders. So just trying to find either keys or books that have nice value when they're slabbed or even raw, and just trying to again be smarter with my money instead of just kind of hunting around on different sources or just always going to eBay and looking, or if you hear about a character or speculation talk about just running somewhere to get books. I really wanted to use the data, look at real values, because what I noticed when I'm purchasing from Heritage is Heritage auctions really weirdly enough almost matches GPA to the dollar. Not always, it's plus or minus 10%, but you're talking about like 97% GPA, 102% GPA. It's all right around those numbers. So using GPA data and comparing that to what online stores sell comic books for really just kind of got my analytical juices flowing. So to try and compare this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to open this order. I am not going to grade these books, but I'm going to show you just why I decided to buy these books, and we're going to look at the data and have the data tell us whether or not this was a worthwhile order. Now, I won't have the grades of the books per se, but if we're just assuming they're a 9.4 or the potential to be a 9.6 or 9.8, and we'll look at some of those values together. So let's get to the unboxing. All right, so here's the box. It was sent media mail, which this seller has sent books to me media mail before. This is a seller named Parmon. I think his label says Rocky Mountain Books, not to be confused with Mile High Comics from the Rocky Mountains. So pretty sturdy box here, lots and lots of packing tape, handle with care, stickers. So let's get this box open. All right, got some packing peanuts inside, some bubble wrap, so looking good so far. And a nice brick of comics in here. Get rid of that packing peanut out of the way. So lots and lots of bubble wrap, lots of tape. I'm just gonna have to cut right through this and get in there. Trying not to bend the packing too much, because then those comics will bend, and that's how we get those spine ticks. Unfortunately, I have to cut kind of in and out of the bubble wrap to get this thing open. Just lots and lots of tape. That's okay. It appears to be well packaged. Hopefully no impact damage. I'm just gonna keep cutting through all this. I don't want to just jam the scissors in there. Yeah, the corners of this were so tightly taped that I can't pull the books out necessarily, because then the tape is also grabbing the books. So I'm trying to very carefully, may just have to start pulling them out. Yeah, see right here, this tape got on the books. Now it's coming off. All right. So you'll see some of these as we go through, and that's okay. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. As I cut through I'm glad that wasn't a comic. So I think as I cut through the box, it sliced that. All right. I'm going to pull this over here, see if I can unwrap it without bending anything. See what I mean, though? Like this is all taped, so I can't just peel it back. And I don't want to peel it back because it'll damage the book, so I'm not exactly sure how to get through there. Just going to keep getting into the sides. Maybe I can just slide it out. Here we go. I think I got it. Yeah, and almost a little straggler. The tape's caught on there. All right, and the books are free. Finally. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the books here, kind of one at a time. Talk about them a little bit, and then I'll get to the analysis of why I purchased these books, so you can kind of see the values, and hopefully see what I was talking about in terms of being just smarter with your money, looking at low risk, high reward type of books. All right, so here we go. X-Men 261, just a fabulous Jim Lee, Psylocke, Wolverine, Jubilee from 1990. Love it. Again, to be clear, all of these books were purchased under the grade near mint, so NM. So part of this process of what we're learning together is which sellers, which comic book stores online actually give you near mint or above books when you order near mint. Mile High, for example, their average grade is 9.4. And with Atomic Avenue, I've started to break down the data by seller, so we can look at Parmon's books individually and see kind of where he grades out. But really, really good looking book. Corners look really sharp in the bag. So this looks like it has nice potential to be a high grade. So I did find some 90s goodness. This one I can't stop buying. This is Spider-Man number 7. This is with Ghost Rider. Todd McFarlane on this one. I usually find this for $1 or $2 and I just keep buying it. Some of these 90s books, slabbed at 9.8, are starting to take off. $100 here, $200 there. And these great early issues, the single-digit issues of Spider-Man when McFarlane started the series with issue 1, are really great. Here's another one, Spider-Man number 6. This is part 1 of 2. So the part 2 had Ghost Rider. This one has Hobgoblin. This is always a fantastic book. Again, maybe a little bit of pressing on these, a little bit of cleanup, and maybe these are 9/8. We'll see. So that's Spider-Man number 6. And then just keeping the 90s McFarlane Spider-Man going. Spider-Man number 5. These covers are just outrageously gorgeous. And I don't care if there's a million of these or not. You'll see what I paid for them. Not very much. Again, if any of these come as a 9/8, gosh, this one looks really... I never want to show you what the book looks like in the bag and board. I'd like to take it out and grade, but it does take a while to do that. So you'll have to watch for some screening videos on how I do that. But the colors and the centering look great on this. Would be super stoked to see even these books I'm getting for a couple of bucks come back in a 9/8. Another one, Spider-Man number 4 with the lizard. This is Torment Part 4 of 5. Just amazing. Again, more McFarlane awesomeness there. Great colors too. Nostalgic for that time of 1990, early 90s art. All right, so moving towards another title. This is Spectacular Spider-Man 189. Look at that hologram. Yep, that's awesome. Now, the book that's taking off right now is Amazing Spider-Man 365. That is the hologram counterpart in the Amazing Spider-Man title because it has the first preview of Spider-Man 2099. So that's all the rage now because of the Spider-Verse trailer. I wasn't able to secure that, but I did get this one. Again, all of these listed in near mint, and I have a copy somewhere of ASM 365. And you can imagine getting ASM, Spectacular, and Web with the holograms all slabbed. Again, 90s cover gimmick at its finest, but I mean, yeah, it's not a chromium cover or anything like that, but still a fun cover. Here's another example of low risk, buy low, and some hidden value. These Marvel Comics Presents with Weapon X. This is number 84 of Marvel Comics Presents. Barry Windsor Smith on art. We just don't know what Marvel's going to do with Wolverine or the Weapon program just yet. But we saw Marvel Comics Presents start to heat up with a lot of the Wolverine origin and the Weapon program origin. This book is sneaky valuable. And it's one of the reasons I got this one and this one as well. This is Marvel Comics Presents 82 with Wolverine in it as part of the Weapon X. Really great stuff. And even get a little bit of Firestar there. Some of these comics had different covers on the back, so you could turn them over and see a different character because it was there are multiple stories going on. So there was quite a few Weapon X issues because the story was short. It was maybe half an issue or a third of an issue inside. All right, Iron Man 247. Had to get this one with Hulk on the cover, Bob Layton on art. A book that I didn't have in my Iron Man run and listed as near mint. I can see some spine ticks on this one, so it may be at best a 9.4, maybe a 9.2 already, just kind of looking at it from the bag and board, but wanted to get that. This one was, I think I'm checking to see here in the order details, might have been the most expensive one that I ordered. No, not quite. There was one other one, but it's up there. This is G.I. Joe number 3, and boy, is this miswrapped. Look at that. And a huge tear on the top. So this is something where I'm going to write him back and say, there's no way that that's near mint. I paid near mint value for this, but that is a giant tear. The miswrapping does not necessarily mark it down, but it's really unfortunate because it would have been maybe a near mint, but that tear, no. Now, I'm not upset by this. This is fine because I can contact the seller and talk about what we want to do. They're sellers on Atomic Avenue, just like eBay. They're very protective of their ratings and their feedback. And when you get a book like that and it's honestly damaged, contact him and just send him some pictures and just say, listen, there's no way this is near mint. How do you want to resolve this? And kind of take it from there. If they say, buyer beware, there's nothing I can do, it looked fine to me, then you don't order from them again. Okay, Ghost Rider number 5, again, from 1990, just like those Spider-Man issues from McFarlane. This is a really, really fantastic cover by Jim Lee. And anything really right now, Ghost Rider, Punisher, Daredevil, Moon Knight, these characters that are appearing together, these street level sort of characters. It's kind of all the rage right now. And this is a great, great cover by Jim Lee on Ghost Rider number 5. Not a lot of DC for me that I've been picking up, but this one, it showed up as a book that, again, my spreadsheet was saying pick it up, and that's Batman 440. And this one, it definitely has some spine curling. I can see, I can feel it right here in the bag and board. You can kind of see it in the light too. So it definitely is in need of a press, but hopefully there aren't any tears or anything like that GI Joe #3. But a good looking copy there. Again, might just need to be pressed out and smooth to get rid of the spine curl. All right, Amazing Spider-Man 339. This is on the heels of 337. What the community is basically saying and the market is saying is the second full appearance of the Sinister Six. So in preparation for Spider-Man No Way Home later this month, anything in sort of the Spider-Man 337, 38, 338, 339 was something that I was looking at picking up. This is an Eric Larson cover with Dr. Octopus right there front and center with the title of The Return of the Sinister Six, Part 6 of 6. So a book that I didn't own, and now I can add it to my Amazing Spider-Man run. Amazing Spider-Man 326. This was another sort of filler in the collection, honestly. It was not a key, but really good value in near mint. This looks to be in great shape. So I got this one primarily just to add to the PC in my run of ASM. All right, two more to go. This was the most expensive out of the bunch. This was Amazing Spider-Man 303. I'm trying to gather, a nice run of McFarlane books from 298 up until he kind of finished, and he did some covers here and there. This was a book that I did not have. So I've got 298 through 302, and now I have 303. Just love this time and age of books. Again, it looks to be in pretty good shape. I can see some spine ticks here, but has the potential to be locked in at least near mint. So this was the most expensive book. The rest were, except for the G.I. Joe, were very, very affordable and in high quality. And then it looks like he threw in a bonus book, which is nice. No board on this one, just as X Factor 41. I believe, yeah, this is a Simonson cover. I think he did the interiors as well. And I don't believe I have this as part of my X Factor run. Terribly miswrapped, but hard to complain about a bonus book. So the sellers will do that on occasion, throwing in an extra. So that's cool too. That'll go into the PC as part of a run. So I'm not going to show the G.I. Joe book over and over and over, but that's disappointing. But again, it's just something that happens when you buy these books sight unseen. If you're at a convention or an LCS, you're going to look at that book listed as near mint, show the tear. Somebody's going to say it. Okay, fine. It's a 4.0, 5.0, 5.5. What do you want for it? Is it a $2 book, $3 book now? I don't know. But I'll contact him and see if we can work out some sort of refund. But before I do that, let's look at the order, and I want to show you the values of the books and what the projection was if the books were all 9.4, 9.6, or 9.8, and I can kind of show you, why I purchased these books specifically, and tell you what I paid for some of them so that you can kind of see, okay, this is where I'm looking at for the potential. So let's dive into the spreadsheet. All right, it's time to get nerdy with some spreadsheets. And so this is the order that I placed with the seller Parmon on Atomic Avenue. And it was placed on December 1st. Let me just update the dates there in the summary. It was placed on December 1st. And really, really quick turnaround on this order. I think I got the shipping notification out the next day. Like, it was packed, ready to go. So really, really appreciate that. So what are we looking at here? This is how I track my orders. This is where I put them in the spreadsheets and really start to kind of figure out, was it worth my money and my time to buy these books? And looking at some different grades and how it compares to my models. And then I'll show you kind of what the summary is here. I'm starting to kind of talk about what I pay for books. I think that's something that is lost on a lot of YouTube channels. It's like, hey, I got this book for really cheap, or I found this super rare copy. It's really hard to find people who want to talk about the money that they're spending and the actual grades. Like, they may tell you I got this book for $1, but they may not tell you that it's a VG. Like, they're not saying I got this stack of 20 books for $1 each and they're all 9/8, and I'll show you that they're 9/8. Like, nobody does that. So I'd like to go ahead and throw that out there and show you. So this was a $68.40 order right here in the summary. There was no shipping and no tax on this. So with Atomic Avenue, the sellers disclosed that once you go above a certain amount, either domestically or internationally, they'll offer free shipping. And that's awesome. So I always try and get above whatever that number is. I believe with Parmon, it's $50. So if you order more than $50 or $50 or more worth of comics, he'll ship it out to you for free, and no tax and everything. So the first thing I do is I try and factor in the total cost, and that is over here on the right side where we've got total cost. And if there was any, this is my formula up here, if there was any tax or shipping, then this would adjust. And one of the things I've noticed is that when I make this adjustment for things from another world, I'm paying over cover price. So even though I'm pre-ordering and getting a discount per book online, once it's actually shipped out, you're paying over cover. So that's something that I'm finding out and I have to think about when I order. But back to this order, what I need to do in order to look up the data is come up with a way to uniquely describe the book. So that's what this column over here is. It's taking the title, the issue number, and then the year that the comic was released, and it creates this unique string. So there's not another Amazing Spider-Man 303 1988 that actually represents ASM 303. Now, directs, newsstands, variants, that's something I'm working out, but that would, in theory, trail the 1988 with, not, it would be 1988 newsstand, right? And then it's unique. So these, there are no variants, pretty straightforward order. So what are these like numbers that we're looking at here in terms of total cost, profit, and CGC profit? So the total cost here matches the order. So I'm just making sure that my math is correct. So if I say that this is what I spent on the book, that I want my total cost when it's all summarized, I need 68.40 to match 68.40. Now, this is the fair market value, this column here, of the book, raw, regardless of grade. So this, I'm using the cover price value. So if we're looking at ASM 303, the cover price raw in any grade of ASM 303 is currently $17.42. So I paid $20 for this book. So I'm paying over. But this is okay. Remember, this is it's the average fair market value. So look at the next one though. Actually, look at almost all of them except for G.I. Joe. I paid less than the fair market value of any grade for the book. So ASM 326, right? I paid $4.75. Cover price is reporting an $8.03 fair market value. So that's what column AA represents, the raw profit. So negative, obviously it's a loss. And that's just if it's a raw book. So again, looking at G.I. Joe, number 3, with that tear, basically I took a loss on that book, unless there's something I can work out with the seller. But if I can't, I lost money on it. And this is the gamble again of buying online. But in most cases, I profited on every book if I were to say, take this stack of books. Again, what is your time worth? I'm not trying to figure out, anything too crazy. I'm just assuming if you love doing this and you would maybe just want to flip these books or turn them around and sell them, that you should be able to, in theory, with these being high grade, that if you actually took a picture, because that's the thing, at Atomic Avenue, there are no photos. So if you took a photo of the book and put it on eBay, that you would take this $4.75 investment, sell it for a little over $8 and profit $3.28. Your total profit on this order, $47.69. Kind of sight unseen. You're not scanning these. You're basically putting it on eBay as NM. Again, I wouldn't list the G.I. Joe as NM, obviously, but you kind of get the point. So that's what all of this data is here, right? So that's why I decided to strategically buy these books, right? I'm paying $1.70, $1.60, $1.75. $1.75 for Uncanny X-Men 261, Jim Lee cover, Psylocke Wolverine. The fair market value is $9. You know, if you can get a $9 book for $2 all day in near mint, again, this is what I'm trying to discover through this data analysis that I'm doing. So that's why I considered this order to be a strategic order, an intelligent order, something that was worth my time and money because it had really great potential of these books that were being sold for under the fair market value. Now for the fun part. Now I don't have grades for these, so you kind of have to bear with me here. But look at this last column. So this last column, column AB, CGC profit. What is this? Right? So this is the total cost of the book minus what I'm saying it would cost you to grade the book. And if we look at CGC analysis, where are you? Spreadsheet. There we go. So this is M2, which is right here. So with all this CGC calculations and data, I'm saying if you send in 10 books, and that's typically the order size that I send into CGC, I send 10 books on average, maybe 8, 10, and this is the cost if it's 8. Again, because you're paying the same amount to ship them to Florida. So I just factor this in as a 10 book. Maybe if you're doing a 25 book screening, it's a little cheaper, but $26.37 is basically what I'm saying it costs to slab the book, right? So here you go. Here is the total cost that I paid for the book, and then the cost to slab it door to door. And you'll see all of these are negative, right? So if for some reason I just wanted to send them all to CGC as is, it would be a total cost of $532, right? $68 to buy these books, and then a ridiculous amount of money to grade 15 books here by CGC. Now, it's not so ridiculous if they all come back in high grade. So how do we figure that out? So right here in my grade, if I start to put in the grades, then this through my lookup, because you'll see all of these were NA. So if you missed that here, you'll see right here it's NA because it's saying it can't perform the VLOOKUP because it doesn't know what the grade is. So if I put the 9.4 back in here, it's automatically in my acquisition spreadsheet where I store my values. It's looking up ASM 303 and a 9.4 and saying it's $56. Again, this is why it's low risk, because if you look at the CGC profit, $9.64. So if I bought this book for $20, I don't even bother really grading it. I just assume it's 9 min, or I kind of give it a once over. I send it off to CGC and you're like, yeah, you missed a couple of these things in the grader notes. Here it is on the 9.4. You end up making almost $10 just like that. And that's one book. Now, the fun part, what if it's pristine, it gets the 9.8? Now we're talking, right? So now the value is $169 currently as of early December 2021. And now look at the CGC profit. So even though it's a loss in the fair market value, it has the potential to gain $122.64. And that's just for ASM 303. So now for fun, let's just do all of these at once. So let's say all of them come back as a near mint. And now my total CGC profit is $66.73. Now, again, think about that for a second. That means I took all the books. They all got 9.4s. They're all slabbed. You shipped them to CGC. CGC shipped them back to you. And still, you're able to profit. Now, that's a lot of work for $66, but what if one of these books hits as a 9.6, 9.8? What if multiple do? I mean, looking at some of them, they're not 9.8s. Others, they're 9.8 candidates, possibly. Now, the tough part is this G.I. Joe book, right? Because if I said, let's say it's a 5.0 because of the tear, it has no value. Well, now, if I was a dummy and I didn't actually screen these books and I just, sight unseen, they're off to CGC, that one book coming back with a tear that I didn't notice put this entire operation at a loss. If we're kind of saying this scenario of taking this one order and sending it off for grading. So that's where I still have to go in and screen it. So let's just leave that as a 5 for now. Well, actually, let's leave that in there. I'll change it. So now what happens if they're all 9.6? Well, now if they're all 9.6, obviously the profit goes up to 212. You kind of know what's going to happen if we do 9.8. $972. Again, not all the books are 9.8. I understand that. I'm not naive. However, the potential, right? So in the high range, and I think the G.I. Joe one is clearly carrying it, right? So if we just take that back to a 5. So if we put that as a 5 with the tear, which you wouldn't send to CGC anyway, so actually, I could say, I could just take that off altogether because you're just not dealing with it, let's say. So $840. That's your potential high-end range if you are comfortable with assuming that sometimes you are going to get 9.8s from a particular store or seller. This is a lot of fun for me. I love doing this. So again, if we go and we're just taking off G.I. Joe altogether. So in a 9.4, oh, and I forgot one ASM there. Oh, actually, the ASM wasn't even a 9.8. Let's do this again. There you go. So now they're all 9.8. So if I took the G.I. Joe number 3 off and I was missing the ASM 303 to 9.8, $942. $942. Now if I change these to 9.4, again, the G.I. Joe 3 excluded, $40. So off to CGC, those 14 books go. They come back 9.4, you made $40. If they come back 9.8, you've made $940 some dollars. Now, is that going to happen? Are they all going to be 9.4s, all going to be 9.8s? Clearly not. But that's a nice range, right? Could you see yourself getting $200 or $300? Possibly. This was a cheap order. I mean, look at $1.60 for Spider-Man 5. But if Spider-Man 5 is a 9.8, it's a $70 9.8. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm trying to do with my ordering right now. I was too caught up in either listening to speculation and comic book news, looking at app alerts and scrambling and, well, it's $30 on Mile High and it says near mint. It must be a good deal. Not necessarily. Now I can use this data and very quickly, using the models that I have, kind of determine before I'm going to make the purchase, right? So I'm putting this order in ahead of time. What happens if all of these books arrive at a certain grade? What am I looking to gain? And in a worst case scenario, you don't want to slab any of them. You just want to sell them, or you want to keep them. You want high quality, valuable books in your collection instead of just a bunch of filler. This is a great way to look at the data and look at the numbers. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, I'm going to start to show more of what I'm doing before I order and share with you some of the books, maybe looking at either certain titles or certain eras and kind of going through and saying, these are the books in the particular order that you should be looking for. Not because of, again, like speculator scoops or anything like that, just looking at numbers, looking at values. I mean, you can scoop books all day long, but if they don't have value, they don't have value. So this is what I'm talking about, is looking at these numbers and using them to your advantage, and then helping you decide what books you're going to order online, what books you're going to make a list and take them to a flea market, comic book show, your LCS, and be way more informed and make intelligent, strategic, and cost effective decisions when you're investing and buying comic books. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.